by now everyone knows, Juneteenth, better known as Juneteenth National Independence Day, or Jubilee Day, or Black Independence Day, or Emancipation Day, has finally been made into a federal holiday by President Joe Biden at the urging of so many African Americans in this country. Now, by now everyone knows about the history. I'm just going to give you the short part of it. This is Juneteenth is the new federal holiday that's been celebrated for decades, for generations actually. But it was never made into a federal holiday until this year, and it celebrates the Emancipation Proclamation being celebrated being spread to the entire country. June 19th, 1865, the announcement of General Order Number 3 by Union Army General Gordon Granger proclaiming the freedoms of slaves in Texas. Now we all know in the year prior to that, in 1962, that President Abraham Lincoln actually signed the Emancipation Proclamation, proclaiming slaves to be free. But of course, as Texas and other states rebelled, prompting the Civil War, of course. Now, after the war ended, the Emancipation Proclamation was spread and Texas slaves were freed, which means the slaves in the United States were finally free. Now we got a chance of celebrating that as a federal holiday, giving it the same respect as any other federal holiday, like Veterans Day or Memorial Day, and the day that everyone wants us to only celebrate, the 4th of July, Independence Day. Now, obviously, you could probably guess where this is going. A lot of people do not like this at all. And there are three people I'm going to be talking about, other than the Republicans who are hating this because they don't want another Independence Day in this country. But let's start with the first one. And that first one happens to be, of course, you guessed it, Tucker Carlson. Now, Tucker, just see what he says.
Starting this Saturday, our country is getting a new Independence Day to supplant the old one, which people like Lori Lightfoot complained was racist. Not a single member of either party in the Senate opposed it. Republicans, in fact, co-sponsored the resolution. Happy that my bill to recognize Juneteenth as a national holiday just passed the Senate, wrote John Cornyn, a supposedly conservative senator from Texas. Lori Lightfoot is thrilled by this. Unlike John Cornyn, Lori Lightfoot understands the power of symbols. They're immensely important. That's why we have them.
Now, obviously, you know he's full of crap. Juneteenth is not going to supplant July 4th, Independence Day, the birth of this nation. I don't think any holiday, regardless of what it is going to supplant Independence Day. But what really bothers me about this is the simple fact that you don't want to celebrate the fact that America's original, you know what, you want me to get biblical? Let's get biblical. This country's original sin of slavery, of people, just because they happen to be of a different skin color, will always mark this country as a dark nation. Not even this, proclaiming Juneteenth as a national holiday will heal those wounds, but it may dull the pain just a little bit. Now, I don't know why Tucker Carlson, actually I do know why he's hating this. We know he's a white supremacist supporter. We know this. We know he's a racist scumwad. We know this. But why? But here's the thing that really gets me. He calls himself a staunch Republican. Now, I might be wrong, but I thought Lincoln President Lincoln, the man who written up the Emancipation Proclamation, was Republican. Why would Republicans go against this? They're supposed to be the party of Lincoln, the grand old party. But you're going against this? Going against the fact that we're trying to celebrate something your Republican president did? For the last 4 years, when Trump was in office, I got the same excuse, the same BX excuse. Why are you supporting Democrats? Democrats support slavery. They did, but that was back then. Things change. Right now, you Republicans are the ones trying to keep monuments of slavery alive. So Tucker Carlson, we're not trying to replace the 4th of July. Nothing can replace the birth of our nation. But we need to make sure the full story of this nation is told. Now, more on that in a few moments when I talk about the next person. But I'm going to leave it with this, with you, Carson. Those who do not learn from the past are always doomed to repeat the past. And it's very obvious to me, it's very obvious to everyone out there that you want a repeat of the past. You want slavery back. And if you're any kind of interested in trying to prove me different, I invite you to debate me on Facebook or on Fox News. I'll even meet you on your low ground. And I'll do it for nothing. I won't pay. I won't take a single dime from you freaks. But explain to me exactly why you're against this. When your little bubble of Make America Great Again, well, actually, that was popped. That bubble was popped in November when we voted your master Donald Trump out. But your little bubble of America, so strong, so righteous, so powerful, hasn't been destroyed. But the only people who are destroying it is people like you, Carlson. So, I give you this question. Why are you trying to destroy a piece of history that African Americans have fought, bled, and suffered for? Juneteenth should be celebrated by everyone in this nation and remembered as the end, the very end, or at least on paper, the very end of America's original sin. But obviously, you don't want it to end. And I feel so sorry for you. But I feel even sorrier, a hell of a lot sorrier, for the next person I'm gonna mention in this. And of course, that next person, oh, I'm getting really sick and tired of talking about this woman. I really am. I am so sick of mentioning this woman. But you know who I'm going to talk about. The white woman trapped in a black woman's body. Or in this case, a black woman's skin. Candace Owens. Now, she's a hateful bitch. That's a given. But she goes on Twitter not too long after the announcement was made. And she fires off 3 tweets that shows how stupid this woman really is. The first one, and I quote, "Juneteenth is so lame. Democrats really need to stop trying to repackage segregation. I'll be celebrating July 4th and July 4th only. I'm American." So lame. So the end of slavery is so lame. The celebration of freedom of African Americans from enslavement is so lame. The ending of America's original sin is so lame. You bitch! What in the hell is wrong with you? And as for this idea of repackaged segregation, this isn't something that needs to be segregated. Every American needs to be celebrating this. because his touch is ingrained in the DNA. It's ingrained in the land of America. Now, I'm sorry this is bursting your bubble of America was never evil. Slavery was evil. And as for your statement of, I'll be celebrating July 4th and July 4th only, that's your right. It's not like I celebrate every holiday there is out there. I celebrate the holidays that are important to me. Father's Day is only a couple of days from now. I'm going to be celebrating that. But when you say July 4th and July 4th only, you're just giving up your blackness, aren't you? Darling, you're black. Get over it. But the next tweet, it just shows me how stupid this bitch really is. And I quote, "It took all of 2 years for Democrats to train black Americans to worship criminals like George Floyd, beg for violence on the streets via defund the police, and celebrate segregation in the form of Black Independence Day. I cannot comprehend the rampant stupidity." You know what? You're right. I can't comprehend the rampant stupidity. But the stupidity is on all of your side. The Republican Party, at least the Republican Party that's still clinging onto this idea of America has never done anything wrong in its lifespan. America has been so star-spangled awesome for all of its 200 plus years. That hasn't done anything wrong. That's done everything the right way. When we have buckets of blood, barrels of blood throughout the history of this nation to show that it has. And for you saying it took 2 years for Democrats to train black Americans to worship George Floyd, criminals like George Floyd, I didn't worship George Floyd. And I've said over and over again that he was a duplicitous scumbag. However, I do say, and a lot of people out there, including hardcore cop supporters out there, say that what Derek Chauvin did was wrong. Now, I'm sorry you think that Chauvin should have been let free, let loose. But he murdered a man in cold blood in full public view of the street. Something was going to happen to Chauvin, or something was going to happen to this country. He had a fair trial where all the evidence was proven. And it was proven that Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd. Now, I'm not worshiping George Floyd, but I'm holding up to as a watershed moment for law enforcement in this country. Because to this point, every time we had a cop who murdered an unarmed black man, he was let loose the next day. This didn't happen there. As for defund the police, some of the police departments need to be defunded. Some of those funds need to go in to the community. Some of those funds need to go into schools, job placements. Some of those money can go into scholarships for them to go to college, to get black boys and black girls off the street. Because you, and yes you did, Owens, don't you fucking dare try to say you didn't say it. You said that we as black folks, as black men, as black women, have a genetic predisposition for crime. You racist bitch! Don't you dare try to deny you said that, because you did say it. And celebrating segregation in the form of Black Independence Day. As I said earlier, nothing about this is going to be segregated. I have white friends out there who are saying, good, this should have been done years ago. This should have been done decades ago. Oh, that this holiday should have happened. That this holiday needs to be taught. But unlike so many Republicans, your fellow Republicans, Owens, you want to destroy those lessons. And the rampant stupidity is coming from you. Now, the last tweet, she says, every single race has been enslaved at some point in history. Africans are still enslaved today. This is not a holiday. This is more emotional training from Democrats to see ourselves as somehow separate from America. Independence Day is July 4th. The end. I'm going to eviscerate this bitch right now. I celebrate in the 38 years of life that I've had, I've always celebrated Independence Day when I understood what it was, the birth of the United States of America. I celebrate it because it's expected of me to celebrate it as an American. But I know the history behind this country. In 1776, July 4th, when the Declaration of Independence was signed, blacks in this country were slaves. Maybe you don't understand that. Maybe you and a lot of your dickhead Republican assholes don't get that. In 1776, when the day you see as Holy Day for the United States of America, we were still slaves, you dumb bitch! I apologize for me screaming and cursing. No, actually, I'm not going to apologize for that, because you can't be this stupid, Owens. You can't whitewash what happened in history. Slavery happened in this country. That's a fact. And slavery, yes, I'll give you this much. Slavery is still happening in Africa now. And that is a travesty. And we should probably do something about it. And for you to say this is emotional training from the Democrats, to somehow see ourselves separate as from America, we've been separate from America for a very long time. And it didn't take until recently for us to be seen, for black people, people of color, to be seen as Americans. It was a long struggle, a hard struggle that all of us had to go through. Our ancestors, your damn ancestors had to go through. But seriously, I don't think you give a shit about that. I honestly don't. I don't think you understand your history, Owens. I don't think you understand your history that comes with this face, with this color. Shame on you. Shame on you, you racist cunt. And before I close your segment out, you dumb bitch, I thought, it just hit me. It just hit me like about the lightning. Someone else tried to create this as a holiday. Another former president, tried to create Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Who was that? Who was that? Oh, it was him. That's right. Your massa, Donald Trump, tried to create Juneteenth as a federal holiday. But we know why he did. He was trying to get the black vote. And frankly, it was fucking pathetic. We can all see through that bullshit of his. You want to celebrate Independence Day on July 4th? That's your prerogative. But by these tweets alone, you spit on your ancestors, Owens. You might as well go to your great-great-great-great-grandfather, your great-great-great-grandmother, squat down and take a piss on their last resting sites. Because that's what you did. Me personally, I'm going to celebrate both. I don't know what I'm going to really do, but I'm going to remember the struggles of my ancestors to get to this point. The struggles we are still going through now. Because what happened during slave time is still happening to us now. It's a little bit more polite. It's a little bit more evasive rather than beating us with whips, hanging us from trees. But it's still happening. And we're going to fight to stop it from happening all over again. I picked my side. My side is with America. The America of inclusion. The American of unity. The American of free and fair justice for all Americans. All Americans of color. All Americans of white. All Americans of black. All Americans of Mexican descent. All Americans of Latin descent. All Americans of Asian descent. And as much as it kills the hell out of you, all Americans of Middle Eastern descent as well. You hateful bitch, get nothing from us, the real Americans. So stay in your little corner of hatred, self-pity, and Trump worship while we wave the flag of the unified America, the true United States of America. The true United States of America that should have happened in 1776, but didn't happen. The true America that happened a century later, when Juneteenth happened. That's what we're celebrating. And next month we'll be celebrating July 4th. We'll be firing up fireworks, having barbecues, blah blah blah, yak yak yak. But I won't forget that that Black Americans weren't seen as Americans, weren't seen as equals, weren't seen as citizens, weren't seen as people. We were seen only as cheap labor. That's when you want to celebrate? That's on you. My conscience and the conscience of all of us real Americans, of all colors, all religions, we celebrate and we remember our past. It's too bad that you're trying to whitewash it. Now, I was debating whether or not to mention this asshole. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste my time. The video's been running too long as it is. But I'm just going to say this in conclusion. Whether you celebrate this holiday, Juneteenth, National Independence Day, Black Independence Day, it's up to you. I'm not going to force you. I'm not even going to debate you on that. You believe what you believe in, and that's on you. But for all of you, tomorrow, June 19th, 2021, I say to you, Happy Juneteenth. Please tell your children, please learn about this. As I said earlier in this video, those who do not learn from the past are always doomed to repeat it. This is a past, this is America's sin that cannot be repeated. And those who are struggling to have it repeated, I'm talking about the Tucker Carlsons and the rest of those Fox News clowns. I'm talking about the Trumpers with the red hats that traded in the sheets for the new red hats. I'm talking about the white supremacists who have made excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse of racism and bigotry in this country, whether it be white against black, or prejudice against the LGBTQ, or prejudice against the Asians over the coronavirus, whether it's against Middle Easterners and saying that every Middle Eastern man or woman is going to be a terrorist. Do not repeat this original sin of prejudice and racism and hatred and bigotry. We almost saw the destruction of a country before it was born back in 1776. And throughout our country's history, we've seen numerous examples about how our country could have been destroyed because of racism, because of the cancer of racism and bigotry. I implore all of you, do not let this happen again, because we will not survive if it does. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.